Integrity. Do you have any? Is it important to you? We are certainly living at a time when there's not a lot of it. I'm really hoping that this is being made in 2020. I'm really hoping that in the future somebody will watch this Godshot and say, what was he talking about? People actually had a problem with integrity? Boy, we value that more than anything else. That's what I hope happens. And they're wondering, like, what was wrong with them back then? But right now, there's not a lot of integrity. People are more concerned about their own personal gain, their own personal benefit. People don't care about truth. They just want a reaffirmation of their narrative, their outlook, their opinion, their way of looking at life. And I propose to you that there is not much in life more important than having integrity. To be a person that means what they say and says what they mean, and that lives what they say, that puts it into action, that there's a congruence between what a person says and what a person does. And we don't have a lot of that anymore. Everybody is out to spin instead of being a truth teller and a truth liver. I strive for it myself, very, very much, and I believe it's very important. You know, character is more important than reputation. Reputation is affected by other people's opinions about you or perceptions or experiences with you. But your character comes from inside. And that's something that you do control and you have everything to say about. And it's infinitely more valuable. You see this little old lady here? It's my Aunt Josie. And she is one of the main reasons why I've striven for integrity all my life. My Aunt Josie was my best friend as a kid. She lived next door to us. She was a little old lady that she had never married in life. And she treated our family as her own. And she had so much love. My mother was busy raising us. I'm the oldest of 9 kids. And my mother didn't have time for like the little things to like make you feel extra special. She did on it. She did her best. I love my mother. She did the best she could. But my little Aunt Josie next door always made you feel special. She always would tell you stories about the old days. She'd make your favorite cookies for you. She would just make you feel like you matter. I don't even know if I'd still be alive, you know, if I would have made it through those years, if I didn't have that one person that I was special to. And she was that for me. And when my Aunt Josie got old, she fell and she broke her hip. For anybody that's serious, but for an old person, it was deadly. And she had to go into the hospital. And I remember a time when I went to go visit her. I went with one of my sisters, and we were there in the hospital room, and she was out of it. Maybe they had her on medicine. Maybe she was close to dying. Whatever it was, she didn't recognize me and my sister. And she really was like there, but not there. And I was getting upset. I'm like, God, please, please don't let it end this way. Don't let this person who was so special to me, you know, don't let her have to go and me not having that last moment of just being able to say not goodbye, but see you later in heaven. And I love you. I was like, God, don't let it end this way. And then like a miracle, she came to. And she recognized me and my sister. And what we did that day in that hospital room taught me more about life than anything that maybe ever happened to me. You know what we did for those? Once she came to and recognized us, you know what we did? We went over every funny story we could remember. All the stories from our childhood. All the times when she came to every birthday party. She used to babysit for us. When I think of it, it was like cool. We used to hide on her, and she couldn't find us. There was the time when we used to play baseball in her yard. Her yard was bigger than ours, and we were allowed to play there. My mother was always real cautious, like don't break anything. And we were like big shots. Me and my brother were playing little league, so we're playing with hard baseball, something we weren't supposed to do, but that was what we had to play with in the game. So we're like, we got to practice with a hard ball. And, you know, I don't remember whether it was me or my brother, but one of us hit the ball, the baseball, right through our bathroom window. And she was sitting on the bowl at the time, and she just finished up and everything and took the ball out of the bathtub, came to the window, and just said to us, "Did you lose this?" Threw it back out of us so we could keep playing. She patched up the window. She never told my mother, and it was just things like that. And then the nurses wanted to throw us out, and because it was time past visiting hours, and gave her a big hug and kiss. Me and my sister did with my Aunt Josie, and then leaving there, I remember telling my sister, "I bet you this is the last time we see her." And sure enough, they told us that she had passed like right after we left. I still miss my Aunt Josie, but I keep her in here. And I keep her in here for all the love she gave me and from the gift that she gave me at the very end of her life. Because I look back on that experience in the hospital room, and I think, here's a woman that lived 80-something years. She did a lot of things. She had worked as a secretary to some pretty important people in the city and made good money. And as a woman in those days, she wasn't just a secretary. She was like a pretty important person, and she did really well. She had been out west in a covered wagon. Okay, I saw the newspaper article about her adventures on a covered wagon. She was the first woman on Long Island to buy a car. When cars first came out, only guys bought cars. My Aunt Josie was the first woman to buy a car. She did a lot of things, but at the end of her life, none of that meant anything to her. The only thing that meant anything to her was me and my sister and my family. We were her family. She'd never married. We were it. And that love she shared with us was what she wanted to remember at the very end of her life. That integrity of knowing what was important, having striven for it all her life, and then being able to celebrate that at the end. I want that. I hope you do too. And I hope your prayer is to be a person of integrity so that when your life is over, you look back on it. None of us live it perfectly, but you know that it didn't matter that everybody else was selfish and ignorant and lazy and greedy and giving in to following the crowd. I knew what was important, and I strive to live that way. I hope you have that. You know why else I strive for integrity? This man. That's my grandpa. I'm named after him. Antonio Bellizzi. Now everybody's like, "Hey, I thought your name was Tony." Yeah, Tony is short for Anthony, which is English for Antonio. They tell me that when I was born and named after him, that he said it was the happiest day of his life. My grandpa believed that if there's a person comes after you that carries your name, it's like you're still alive. Like the essence of Antonio Bellizzi lives still in this world in the form of somebody who carries that name. And my grandpa died when I was like 9. And I wish I could have known him better and had more time with him because we moved far away from where he lived when I was like 6. And anyway, I want to see him in heaven. I see him in heaven, and I want to be able to look him in the eye and say, "I hope I did you proud, Grandpa. I hope that carrying the same name that we shared, that I made the most of my life while I walked this earth carrying your name. And I hope I made you proud." And I want you to think about, who are the people in your life, your Aunt Josie's, your people that they live with integrity, and therefore you can strive for that. No matter how many people in this world say don't value that, you can. Who is it that you want to see in heaven that came before you, that you could be sure is praying for you right now? And be able to look them in the eye and say, "Did the best I could. Hope I made you proud." It's things like that that really can keep you on the right track when everybody else is lost.